ಅವಕರ ಕಮಲವರೇ ನಖ ಅದ್ಭುತ ಶೃಂಗಾರ ಕಲಚ ಹಿರಣ್ಯಕಶಿಪು ತಾನುಭೃಂಗ ಜಯ ಕೇಶವಗೀತ ನರಹರಿ ರೂಪ ಜಯ ಜಗದೀಶ ಹರೇ ಜಯ ಜಗದೀಶ ಹರೇ ಜಯ ಜಗದೀಶ ಹರೇ जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय जय प्रभुपाद प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद नरसिंह भगवान की प्रहलाद महाराज की श्रीला प्रभुपाद की निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे
So we all pay obeisances now. Jai Vishnupad Paramhans Pravijikacharya Stat Satshi Shishimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Vishnupad Paramhans Pravijikacharya Stat Satshi Shishimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Srila Prabhupada ki Anand Koti Vaishnavrinda ki Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur ki प्रेम से को श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गो गोपीनाथ राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड गिर गोवर्धन धाम की वृंदावन धाम की नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की मथुरा धाम की द्वारका धाम की जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की गौ माता की गंगा माई की यमुना माई की भक्ति देवी की तुलसी देवी की सामवेद भक्त वृंद की निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरे All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine. Nirvishesha Shunyavati Paschate Deshatarine. Hare Krishna. The classroom is open.
Hare Krishna. So we all can take our seats. So let's everyone to take a seat right at the front. So today is New Year's. So because it's a New Year's, we'll start something new today. So everyone will take seats at the front. So as we're taking our seats, I'd like to just welcome all of you on behalf of the council. So Iskcon Burlington is the name of our corporation, our spiritual corporation. And Iskcon Burlington was established a few years ago. So on behalf of this new year, we'd like to all wish you a very happy new year. It's the first program of the new year officially, although we had a program, but this is the first Saturday of the new year. So as we do that, we wish all of you the very best in Krishna consciousness. So just a quick thing about what the program layout is. We'll have a class, a Bhagavad Gita class or a Veda class from now until about 6:15. And then 6:15 we'll break for what's called Kirtan, which is singing and dancing. And then we'll have Prashadam after that. So today we'll end the program a little early. Also because sometimes we stay around a bit too long and the church, has cameras. So we want to, for the start of 2026, we want to show that we are, moving on time. So we'll talk about time in our class today. So we'll ask everyone to start packing up by after 7 p.m. We can help with packing up and out the door by 7:10, like that. All right, so while we're having the adults class, there's also a children's class. Today we have a small group, so as you see, we don't have many people today. You should get about 40, 50 people at the start. So I'll save some of the announcements at the end if some more people are coming, like that. As you notice that today we have Tulsi. Someone brought Tulsi. So Prabhu, Gautam Prabhu brought Tulsi. So thank you, Prabhu, so much. And Tulsi, as you know, is very dear to Lord Krishna. And on the altar we have Shishi Gaurnitai, the deities of Radhika Prabhu, who kindly brought them over today. So if you look at them, their eyes are very beautiful, right? They're very beautiful deities, and the eyes are very enchanting. So if you haven't had a chance to look at them, of course, you start with the lotus feet and go up, but do not forget to look at their beautiful face. Their eyes are very enchanting and attractive. So thank you, Prabhu, for that. All right. And there was a couple other things, but I'll leave them for the end of the program. So we'll start with Jai Radha Madhava. And today our verses in the Bhagavad Gita, you can go to verses 29, chapter 3, verse 29, and we'll do 4 verses up to 32, like that. So please grab a seat and Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So I feel I'm further away from you. So why doesn't everyone come up one more row up, please? Yes, thank you. So please move up one more row, and same with the Matajis. Thank you. Okay, so this bhajan is called Jai Radha Madhava. I'm sure most of you are familiar with this bhajan. So I'll repeat the bhajan, and then you can sing along with me. Okay. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Gurudev ki jai. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Girivaradari Yashoda Nandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Vrajajana Ranjana Rajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Ramadava Kunja Bihari Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya So the Bhagavad Gita has these opening verses called the invocation pranams. If you go to page 1, you can repeat it with me. So we'll do it all together. We won't do all of them because there's something I want to do in this class. We'll read most of them. So it starts off at page 1 in the introduction. Om Gyantimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurnetam Yena Tasmei Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Meno Bhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadadi Swapadantikam. Now we'll skip to the top of the next page. Hey Krishna Karna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagapate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sate Devi Pranamami Hari Pre Vanchakapataro Bishcha Kripa Sindhupa Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gatadhar Swasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Srila Prabhupada ki jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Okay, so it's the start of the new year. So what we'll do is we'll start, the best way to start the new year is by chanting our rounds, right? So let's do that. We won't chant a full round. So this is something that some people have expressed interest for. If you have beads, great. If you don't, you can follow along. We'll just do part of a round for the next 3 minutes, okay? So we'll chant with the Hare Krishna mantra. So if you're not familiar with the mantra, it's composed of 3 words, Hare, Krishna, and Rama. So Krishna is the one Krishna has unlimited names, but the main meaning, or the Mukhya Nam, is Krishna, one who is all attractive. That means one who attracts everyone, even though you're not attracted to him, he somehow finds a way to attract you to him. That means all attractive. And then Radha, or Hare, or Hara, is the name for Radharani. She's the one that brings you to Krishna. She steals your heart and takes you to Krishna. If you're willing to, she makes that facility made available. And the Rama is the one, the supreme pleasure potency. Okay, that's called Rama, one who gives you pleasure by engaging in this service. It's, of course, some people take it as being, if you want, you can consider Rama as being Lord Ramachandra, Balaram, or Parshuram, but ideally it's the one who is called Radhika Raman, the one who attracts you to chanting his names, according to our acharyas. Okay, so we'll start 1, 2, 3. Now, typically some people suggest doing the pranams, so we can do this. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar, Swastadi, Gaur Bhaktivinoda. So just do a few minutes together. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Mahamantra ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So how did you feel now? You feel, yeah, so you feel some new energy coming, eh? Yes, so that energy is the highest energy because it comes directly from the supreme source of energy rather than Krishna. So once again, as we have some people that have come here, and also I forgot to mention that there's a person or a couple that has come for the first time, so Veda Vyas Prabhu and somebody that are here, so let's give them a round of applause. Thank you for coming. Is there anyone that's here for the first time that I missed? So thank you for coming and joining us for the first day of the new year, or first Saturday, a meeting of the new year. So once again, we all wish you this year full of Krishna consciousness, and may you advance closer to the Lord's feet, Lord Krishna. That's our humble desire for all of you. All right, so today we're covering verses as we are doing the Bhagavad Gita series now for the last year or so. We're doing verses in chapter 3, 29 to 32. So hope all of you have the Bhagavad Gita. If not, might be still some in the back. Is there anyone that does not have the Bhagavad Gita or does not have someone they're sharing it with? No? Okay. So if there's shorter Bhagavad Gitas, you can share, because we want all of you to have the Bhagavad Gita and follow along with us, because there'll be a quiz at the end. Okay. Yes, thank you yes. So Mother Shakti said, very good question. So yes, most important question is chapter 3, called Karma Yoga, and verse 29. Okay? And we'll do 4 verses from there. All right, so let's just do a quick summary of what we covered in the last few classes. So the important thing to note is that our goal of understanding the Bhagavad Gita is that in anything we do in life, we must have a goal. Otherwise, the meaning is not clear, right? If you're going to get into a car, if you don't know where you're going, then it becomes fruitless, right? If you don't know where you're going, someone asks you, okay, a passenger asks you, where are you going today? Or the Uber driver asks you, where are you going? If you say, I don't know, then he'll get frustrated or she'll get frustrated. So you have to have a goal in life. So similarly, when we read the Bhagavad Gita, our goal is to advance us closer to Krishna. That is the main goal. And Krishna says that in the Bhagavad Gita as well. So we know that there is only one path, and that is the path of Bhakti Yoga. Krishna says that many, many times in the Bhagavad Gita. So anything I say in this class is not based on my perception. It's not called Anuman, it's called Praman. So Praman basically means direct evidence. Anuman means hypothesis based on logical conclusions. And anything that's so-called logical may not be in fact. Okay, that might be not factual. Okay, so we're talking about Praman. That's evidence that's irrefutable, because it comes directly from the Vedas, and the Vedas are directly coming from the words of Lord Krishna when he spoke it to his flute, his transcendental flute, to Lord Brahma. When Krishna says anything, it has to be completely, for eternal time, it is completely correct. He can never say anything that's incorrect or something that can be argued against. Okay, like that. So it's not theoretical; it is completely practical and forever true. So the important thing to note is that we're all looking for one thing, is love, right? In all relationships, whether we're married, single, whether we're an animal, a human, insect, even a germ, there is something inside us called Paramatma, and because there is this spirit soul inside us, we have the qualities of the super soul or the supreme soul in a minute form. And one of the qualities is the aspect of love. That is, we want to love someone, we also want to receive love from other people, like that, okay? But the thing that we have in this world is that when we try to love someone or something, the problem is that something's missing. And who can guess what is that thing that's missing in the center of any relationship? Sorry? Okay, so that's one thing, but sometimes trust can be broken too. Who is it? Who is that person? That Krishna, yes. So Krishna must exist in the center of every relationship. If Krishna is missing, then that relationship can become, unfaithful, right? So if you have Krishna in the center or anything in a relationship, then that thing becomes very solid, okay? Very solid. So we see that, like in the Bhagavatam. So the Bhagavatam is an extension of the Gita, right? The Gita are the words spoken by the Lord, and the Bhagavatam are the activities of the Lord. So if you want to understand what Krishna did when he came on this earth, then I'd advise you to pick up the Bhagavatam. So if you're interested in getting the Bhagavatam, you can ask Yogeshwar Prabhu, and he can help you with that. So that's called Srimad Bhagavatam. Gita has 700 verses, and the Bhagavatam has 18,000 verses minus 4. So that's how many verses it has. 17,996 verses to be exact. So the Bhagavatam has many more verses than the Gita because it is full of pastimes, right? And because of that reason, there's many pastimes, but one of the pastimes is that between the Pandavas and Krishna. Okay? So Krishna and the Pandavas were connected both, through biological ways, but they're also connected because of their pure devotees. And they were serving Krishna very nicely. Okay? So the relationship between Krishna and the Pandavas, if you want to establish what is pure love, you must study that. Okay? And that's mentioned in the first canto of the Bhagavatam, the pastime. So there's a chapter in the Bhagavatam in the first canto, right? So canto are like trunks or skanda. Skand means trunk, okay? So the Bhagavatam, at least what we have in this universe, has 12 cantos, okay? In other universes may have much be longer, okay? But fortunately, we only have 18,000 verses to read, okay? In this universe, okay? Right? Because the Bhagavatam with the Devatas might be much longer, right? So it doesn't have to stop at 18,000 verses, but Veda Vyas decided to stop at 18,000 verses. So when you go to the first canto, the first part of the Bhagavatam in chapter 16, there's 19 chapters in the first canto, right? So this chapter 16 talks about how Parikshit Maharaj received the age of Kali, okay? And in there is a beautiful verse in 1:16:16. You can look it up when you go home. 1:16:16, Canto 1, chapter 16, verse 16. It is said there that Lord Krishna served the Pandavas in many, many ways. Okay? And the relationship was very beautiful. So in that purport, okay? In that purport, Prabhupada writes that not only we should follow the directions when we want to hear something, we should follow the direction of Krishna, but we should also follow the directions of the devotees. Because when we don't follow the direction of the devotees, then we are not following Krishna's orders, okay? Sometimes a devotee may ask you, do the seva. You say, why? You might second guess, right? But you're forgetting, is that seva coming directly from Lord Krishna or not, right? Sometimes we think, oh, the seva, I'm not good enough for the seva, or this is too much for me, or, I can do it some other time. But then you are not following the orders of Krishna. And if you do not follow the orders of Krishna, then there's no aspect of loving relationships, right? Love basically means that you do it on the basis of no sort of, strings attached, right? Lishavam pada prishtumam, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says. That is, any relationship must not be a give and take. That is, I give you $100, then give me back $100. It must be without any strings attached. And that's the relationship of bhakti. So bhakti yoga is based on pure love, like that, okay? Now, we'll just digress a bit and then go back to the verses. So there's 5 main topics in the Bhagavad Gita. They're mentioned in the introduction of the Bhagavad Gita, okay? The main topics are, I'll help you with that, okay? Of course, it has to be the Supreme Lord, Ishvara. Then we mentioned the jivas, okay? So the living entities we're called jivas. The third one is the aspect of this material world, okay? Aspect of this material world. We're in this world, and this material world runs anything that we do, okay? So that's called prakriti. And then there's some more chairs in the front. Please feel to, take a seat here. And then the fourth is the aspect of karma. So we're covering karma today. And what is the 5th aspect in the Bhagavad Gita that's mentioned? What are the 5 things? The thing that we don't get on. We're never on time, right? We're never on time, okay? So that's why we forget the 5th thing, right? Kal, okay? Not kal, okay? Short A. So in the verses that we describe today, I'll demonstrate to you that these 5 topics are covered. In verse 30, it talks about Ishvara, okay? The jiva is mentioned in 26, which is covered last week by Yogeshwar Prabhu, 29 and 30. The aspect of karma is all mentioned all throughout all the verses of chapter 3, because it's called karma yoga, right? Material nature is covered in 27, prakriti kyamini guna karma sarvasaha, 327 and 330. And the aspect of time is mentioned like this, okay? So if you forget about time, it is said that if you are not in time for Krishna, okay, so let's say if there's a temple program and you're expected to be here at a certain time, but you're not on time, so what happens? Okay, this is something practical. Hare Krishna, please come and grab a seat. Thank you for coming. What happens is that someone records how many minutes you're late. Okay, so if you're supposed to come at 5 o'clock, but you come at 5:30, then someone upstairs takes record of that and takes off 30 minutes from your lifespan. Okay, then if you keep doing that, then one less day of your lifespan, one week, 1 month, that all gets recorded. Okay, so you die unexpectedly. Okay, unexpected death. It's talked about in chapter 8 of the Bhagavad Gita. So whenever you come for any program for Krishna consciousness, unless there's a real reason, be on time. Be on time. Otherwise, it'll be cut from your time of death. Okay? So that's a very important message like that. All right. Now, then the Gita also talks about what happens when you deviate from the path. Okay? So just giving a summary here. Now, sometimes you do things that are not in our jurisdiction, right? Like, for example, I'm a medical doctor, but I cannot perform surgery, right? So I do not advise anyone about any surgical things in a detailed way, right? Similarly, if you go to a dentist, but you need something like a root canal, most dentists will not do a root canal. They send you to an orthodontist, right? Or someone who's capable of doing that, or a surgeon, or oral surgeon, they do root canals. So there's a story of an owner, okay, an owner. He had two animals. He had a donkey and he had a dog, okay? So this dog was actually a watchdog, all right? So this dog, whenever someone that the dog would not recognize, he would go bow wow, bow wow, bow wow, okay, really loud. And then the watchman would come out and see, is this a guest or is it an intruder? So the donkey was behind in this barn, and he was seeing that this dog is getting all this attention. It's not fair. I'm a donkey. I'm also, a living entity, but this dog is getting all the attention. Whenever the owner comes out, he caresses the dog. So what did the donkey do? He all started doing bow wow, bow wow, bow wow, right? Really loud. And the owner came and started beating him, with a stick, and punished him. He said, "You're a donkey. You're not supposed to be a dog, So that's what happens when we come out of our circle, okay? So the Bhagavad Gita talks about that in 335, which we'll cover next week, hopefully, and then again in chapter 18 and 1847. That is, if you do things that are outside your varna and ashrama, it's not recommended. Do not do that, even if you do your duty incorrectly. And it's better to do your own duty incorrectly than to do someone else's duty correctly, because you will cause a disturbance in the cycle, okay, of order and social. All right, so Chapter 3 talks about karma, right? And yogis, right? We know that there's karma yogis, there's the bhakti yogis, and there's the jnana yogis. So we're now going to become a little technical, because otherwise, reading the Bhagavad Gita, you'll not get the message, right? So what is the meaning of karma yogi? Karma yogi means someone who does their duty, but gives the results to someone else, okay? And hopefully it's the Supreme Lord, right? That's the meaning of karma yogi. Because the nature of karma yogi, his svabhav, is to be detached. That's the nature of someone who is a karma yogi, okay? Then higher than a karma yogi is one who understands, or who's also detached from material things, but he is also using the aspect of knowledge of the Vedas to get to God. Okay, that's called a jnana yogi. That's mentioned in chapter 3 as well. But the one that's the most supreme is called the bhakti yogi, and we'll explain that, because in verse 330, which we'll cover in a moment, verse 330 is called the essence of the Bhagavad Gita. If you want to understand one verse of the Bhagavad Gita, that's the main purpose of the Bhagavad Gita, is 330. Okay, Prabhupada says that in the first line, that this verse is the essence or the purpose of the Bhagavad Gita. Okay, and explains why. Now, there's some people that, as I just mentioned, who may still have attachments to things, right? Like suppose we all have attachments. Like we like our car, we like our investments, we like our country that we live in, we like our clothes, right? The way we dress, the shampoo we use. These are all attachments, right? I'm not saying anything negative, but these are things that bring us pleasure and a sense of satisfaction, right? But what happens is that sometimes when we read the Bhagavad Gita, then all of a sudden we prematurely give up these things. We say now, Krishna says we have to be a tyagi, he says that in chapter 18, the first verse, verses 18, 1 to 5. We have to give up these things. So tomorrow we start, not using our shampoo, right? Tomorrow we let our hair grow. Like, we'll see the barber for like 6 months, We look like someone from Halloween, right? Or from some of the, Bollywood movies like that. So the Gita says, do not become a pretender. Okay, we should not falsely renunciate. Okay, that's called mityachara. The Gita describes that in 3.6. So we should not falsely give up these things. All right. So premature renunciation is discouraged in the Bhagavad Gita. Okay, I'm just mentioning these things because we read the Bhagavad Gita, then we say, oh, Prabhu said that we have to give up these things. So tomorrow I'm going to leave my family and go to the forest. Like Arjuna did. He wanted to leave his family and run after the forest. But Krishna said, no, that's galat. That's not right. That's not what I meant to say. That's totally incorrect. Because Arjuna was a statesman, right? If he did this thing, then what would other people do? What would the common people do? They'd also give up their families. There'd be divorce rates would shoot up, to go to the forest and leave their children and wife behind. So Krishna said that is not correct. You're a Kshatriya. Your duty now is to fight this battle. You should not run away, okay? Like that. So it's not good to be a false renunciant. And there's many people, unfortunately, nowadays, you turn on your TV, go to Asa channel, this channel, that channel, people are sitting on a high chair, they're talking about renunciation, give up this, give up that, like that. They have long hair. I'm not making any, things like that. But then tomorrow they're in jail, right? So they end up in jail, they end up in the first headline in the news, right? Like that, right? Like that. So be careful of these people. The Bhagavad Gita tells you how to recognize these people like that. Okay, so let's move on to the verses for today, okay? All right. So let's just quickly review the verses from last class because it's important. So we'll go through 25 and 28 just to refresh our memory. So what I'll do, I'll ask from the Mataji side, maybe Mataji, if you'd like to read 25 and 26, just a translation, okay? So translation is in the bold blueprint, okay? So it starts off at 25, as the ignorant perform.
As the ignorant perform their duties with attachments to results, and learned may similarly act, but without attachment, for the sake of leading people on the right path.
Yes, and 26, please.
So as not to disturb the minds of ignorant man attached to the fruitive results of prescribed duties, a learned person should not induce them to stop work. Rather, by working in the spirit of devotion, he should engage them in all sort of activities for the gradual development of Krishna consciousness.
Thank you. I see there are some people that do not have the Bhagavad Gita. So if you're next to someone that don't have the Bhagavad Gita, please share it with them, okay? Because I want everyone to benefit from this class, please. So 25 and 26 talk about two key things, okay? Two key messages. 25 talks about one who's attached to their work and one who's detached from their work, okay? Attachment is someone who works just for their self-benefit. And 26 talks about one who works for the benefit of other people, okay? And that person is connected to the Supreme Soul, like that, okay? One is in material consciousness, and in 25 is one who's in material consciousness, and 26 talks about, sorry, I took it backwards. 25 talks about one who is attached to the results, and 26 is the one that sees other people that are attached to the results, and we should not disturb those people. So this talks about people that are attached and detached, okay? So the difference between one person that's attached to their work and one person who's detached is icha, right? Desire. One person has desire to please himself or herself, and the other person has a desire to please someone else. That is the Supreme Lord. So that's the difference between 25 and 26. Now let's move on to 27, 28. So Prabhu, Gautam Prabhu, if you'd like to read 27, 28, just a translation, please.
The spirit soul, bewildered by the influence of false ego, thinks himself the doer of activities that are in actuality carried out by the three modes of material nature. One who is in knowledge of the absolute truth, O mighty armed, does not engage himself in the senses and sense gratification, knowing well the differences between work in devotion and work for fruitive results.
Thank you. So 27, the main gist of 27 is that I am the doer, okay? But someone else is a doer. It's a material energy, prakriti. But we think because of ahankar means our ego, false ego, we think I'm the captain of the team, and if I don't come tomorrow, then the team will, they'll lose. Or some people say that if I don't wake up today, then the whole world will stop, like that. There are people like that, that, we have our friend down south, he thinks like that, that if I don't wake up today, then the whole world will stop, right? Like that. So there are people, like that in this world, and we'll come and meet them as well too. Whereas 29 or 28 talks about the one who is Krishna conscious, because that person does their duty, but depends solely on the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord is instructing me to come to the temple. It's not my endeavor. The Lord wants to come to the temple. So that's the difference between 27 and 28. Okay? So that person is one who's detached. The Bhagavad Gita, you'll see that many, many verses in the Bhagavad Gita repeat. Why? Because our memory is short. So Krishna is very merciful. Like, for example, 26 in this chapter and 29 are identical verses, okay? They're no different. That is, do not disturb the minds of people that are attached to further results. Do not disturb them, Krishna says. If you look in 5:10, chapter 5, verse 10 of Bhagavad Gita, it talks about, the lotus flower. So when you see a lotus flower in the water, the unique characteristic of the lotus flower is what? What's unique about the lotus flower? Right, it is waterproof. The lotus flower is waterproof. It is in the water, but there's not even a drop of water on the lotus leaf, okay? So therefore, we have to be like that. That is, when we're in this world, we should do our duties, but waterproof ourselves from the influence of the material world, like that, okay? That's called Padma Pataram. That is a lotus, become like a lotus flower, as Krishna says in 5:10 of the Bhagavad Gita. Padma Pataram. Okay, any questions? Any doubts so far? No, we're okay? Okay, anyone falling asleep? No? Okay. All right, good. I mean, there's another yoga that we didn't talk about called Yoga Nidra, okay? But that's not the intent of today's class. Okay. So we'll leave that for some other time, okay? All right. Now, 29, we'll just briefly go through it because 29 really is covered in 26 of the Bhagavad Gita. So let's go through that. All right, so I'll ask Mother Kunjika, would you like to read 29, please?
The ignorant fully engages themselves in material activities and becomes attached. But the wise should not unsettle them. Although these duties are inferior due to performance lack of knowledge.
Yes, and the purport, so when you say purport, it's purport by Srila Prabhupada. Thank you.
Persons who are unknowledgeable falsely identify with gross material consciousness and are full of material designations. This body is a gift of material nature, and one who is too much attached to the bodily consciousness is called mandra.
Hare Krishna, please come inside. There's lots of chairs. Thank you for coming. Someone can help them. Sorry.
Is called Manda, or a lazy person without understanding of spirit soul. Ignorant men think of body as self. They accept bodily connections with others as kinsmanship. The land in which the body is obtained is their object of worship, and they consider the formalities of religious rituals to be ends in themselves. Social work, nationalism, and altruism are some of the activities for which such materially designated persons. Under the spell of such designation, they are always busy in the material field. For them, spiritual realization is a myth, and so they are not interested. Those who are enlightened in spiritual life, however, should not try and agitate such materially engrossed persons. Better to prosecute one's own spiritual activities silently. Such bewildered person may be engaged in such primary moral principles of life as non-violence and similar material benevolent work. Men who are ignorant cannot appreciate activities in Krishna consciousness, and therefore Lord Krishna advises us not to disturb them and simply waste valuable time. But the devotees of
Thank you, Hare Krishna. 29, as mentioned, is parallel to that of verse 26. The first paragraph of this verse talks about people that are moralists or humanists. Okay, these people are interested in nationalistic activities, socialism, altruistic things, philanthropy, things like that. You know, things that are important, but they are maybe important only applicable to this lifetime. Okay? So one thing that we have to understand that when we read the Bhagavad Gita, there has to be some degree of acceptance, right? Some of these words that you see in the Bhagavad Gita, like manda, ignorant, you know, when you read the Bhagavad Gita, they may seem a little harsh or a little difficult to digest, okay? So you have to be the reader behind the reader. We have to understand that who is the person that wrote this book, okay? It's not an ordinary person. First of all, the person that wrote this book or spoke this book is not ordinary. That's Lord Krishna, okay? So Lord Krishna has some degree of authority. So we have to accept that the person that spoke this book and the person that was speaking along with him, Arjuna, are people of some degree of authority. If you do not accept that authority, then this Bhagavad Gita becomes just an ordinary book, like the Time magazine. Okay, so you might as well pick up a Time magazine. But if you're picking the Bhagavad Gita, then also we have to understand that the author of the Bhagavad Gita, as it is, Srila Prabhupada, is not some ordinary entity. He's empowered, okay? And maybe if you have some time at the end or during prasadam, we can talk about, if you have any questions, we can be happy to explain to you who is Srila Prabhupada. Well, Srila Prabhupada was sent by Lord Krishna to protect this world during the age of Kali, okay? Now that might seem a very lofty thing, but just for a moment, accept that. And if you accept that, then we'll be able to understand why he wrote some of these purports using this language, okay? So while we think that doing these things, national things, and all those things are good, they're only good for us in this lifetime, okay? But the problem is that they do not bring us out of this lifetime. They might be good, feeding the poor, building hospitals, spreading, trying to cut down on disease, poverty, famine, like that, peacekeeping missions. They're good. But there's two problems. One is that it's only good to this lifetime. And second is that in the Bhagavatam, in Canto 6, verse 16, 34, Chitraketu Maharaj, in the purport, it says that when we solve material problems with material solutions, the problem becomes even worse. Okay? So you can only solve material problems using spiritual solutions. Okay? So that's one important thing to remember. If you don't get anything out of this class, that's one thing to remember. The classical example is peace. All these peacekeeping missions like the UN, they've utterly failed. They've not been able to do that. And it's mentioned in the books that the only solution to this age of peace is by introducing the culture of Krishna consciousness. That's the only thing that will save this. Now, I'm not saying this as an evangelist, I'm not saying this as someone who is here in this chair, you're there. But this is according to the Vedas, okay? And that's been shown because at the end of Dwapara Yuga and the start of Kali Yuga, the degree of Krishna consciousness awareness in people became very less with each successive age. And what happened with each successive age? More and more wars, famine, pestilence, strife became more and more prevalent. That was not seen in the age of Satyug. Except in Satyug, the only wars that are fought were in the higher planets for another reason. But these wars now came from the higher planets to the lower planets and lower like that. But why? Because people are not Krishna conscious. So if we put Krishna consciousness back into the world, that's the only solution for this world, okay? So like that. Therefore, the second paragraph talks about people that the devotees are spreading Krishna consciousness because they want these people that are so-called ignorant to get out of the cycle of birth and death. So therefore, Krishna consciousness is much higher than feeding the masses like that, okay? Because you give them prasadam and you give them Krishna consciousness at the same time. You give them a full package like that. Is that okay? All right, so let's go down to 330. So 330 is the very essence of the Bhagavad Gita, okay? This is one of the most important verses in the Bhagavad Gita. So we'll spend a little time on that. All right, so Yogeshwar Prabhu, if you can just read the Sanskrit, we should repeat the Sanskrit because it's such an important verse that we should memorize the verse. So he'll read one line and we'll repeat after him. So all together, Maya Sarvani Karmani Sanyasa Adyatya Atma Chetasaha Nirasi Nirmamo Mutva Yadyasva Vigatvara. If you lead the translation in proper.
without desires for profit, with no claims to proprietorship, and free from lethargy's kind. This verse clearly indicates the purpose of the Bhagavad Gita. The Lord instructs that one has to become fully Krishna conscious to discharge duties as if in military discipline. Such an injunction may make things a little difficult. Nevertheless, duties must be carried out with dependence on Krishna, because that is the constitutional position of the living entity. The living entity cannot be happy independent of the cooperation of the Supreme Lord, because the eternal constitutional position of the living entity is to become subordinate to the desires of the Lord. Arjuna was therefore ordered by Shri Krishna to fight as if the Lord were his military commander. One has to sacrifice everything for the goodwill of the Supreme Lord, and at the same time discharge prescribed duties without claiming proprietorship. Arjuna did not have to consider the order of the Lord. He had only to execute his order. The Supreme Lord is the soul of all souls. Therefore, one who depends solely and wholly on the Supreme Soul without personal consideration, or in other words, one who is fully Krishna conscious, is called Adhyatma Chetsa. Nirase means that one has to act on the order of the Master, but should not expect future results. The cashier may count millions of dollars for his employer, but he does not claim a cent for himself. Similarly, one has to realize that nothing in the world belongs to any individual person, but that everything belongs to the Supreme Lord. That is the real purport of Mai or unto me. And when one acts in such Krishna consciousness, certainly he does not claim proprietorship over anything. This consciousness is called Nirmama, or nothing is mine. And if there is any reluctance to execute such a stern order, which is without consideration of so-called kinsmen in the bodily relationship, that reluctance should be thrown off. In this way, one may become Vigat Jwara, or without feverish mentality or lethargy. Everyone, according to his quality and position, has a particular type of work to discharge, and all such duties may be discharged in Krishna consciousness as described above. That will lead one to the path of liberation.
Thank you, Prabhu. So let's dissect this, because such an important verse that Prabhupada says that this the verse is the essence or the purpose of the Bhagavad Gita. Mai sarvani karmani, that is, Krishna tells us, he's giving us an order that we should work exclusively for Krishna's pleasure. Okay? Then he gives the formula to do that. How does he do that? Is that keep doing your work, but surrender the results of your work to me. That's called sannyasa. In here, if you look at the translation, in the verse right after the verse Sanskrit, it says sannyas means to give up completely, okay? But the actual meaning of sannyas is that you results, arpam, arpita, that is you offer the results onto Krishna, like that, as he says in chapter 9, for example. Whatever we do, we should offer that as an offering to Lord Krishna for his pleasure. That's the real meaning of sannyas. And sannyas does not mean tomorrow you come, in a like a langot, temple, or wearing some sort of orange dress like that, a t-shirt in minus 30-degree weather. No, come, but it's not your external experience, but what is your internal consciousness. That is the meaning of sannyas. So sannyasi means one who is completely favorable to the will of the Lord and does everything for the Lord's pleasure through his body, minds, words, and consciousness, like that. That's the real meaning of sannyas according to this verse. Then it goes beyond the aspect of karma yoga. Karma yoga talks of detachment. Because some people say that, karma yoga is a path to Krishna consciousness. Actually, this verse refutes that. No, because you are detached, but you have to add bhakti to that. So bhakti is at another level above karma yoga, much, much higher, because bhakti includes karma yoga. And when you attach Krishna consciousness, then it becomes bhakti yoga. So when karma yoga plus Krishna consciousness means bhakti yoga, like that. Okay? I'm going through this a little quickly because we have not much time. So one has to act according to full consciousness. Adhyatma Chetasa. Adhyatma Chetasa means spiritual consciousness. It does not necessarily mean Krishna consciousness. And then Krishna says 3 things we should be when we do our work. We should be nirasir. Nirasir means not have a selfish attitude. That is, if I work 10 hours instead of 8 hours, I'll get $500 extra. Then I'll keep it for myself and I'll go to Disney World, like that, okay? That's called nirasir. You become more and more selfish and become more and more caught up with that. Then you start working 12 hours. Then you start working next week, next month 16 hours a day. because you're getting more money, but your health is going down, Then next month, you're then making an appointment with the funeral home, like that. So you have to be a little careful with these things, because that is what happens when we work too many hours, We do not leave Krishna in the center of that. That's called nirasi. Then nirmama, that is, I'm working, but I'm not attached to this. This house is for Krishna. This car is for coming to temple for Krishna's pleasure. These clothes we wear, they're for the pleasure of Krishna, like that. Okay, that's why we come into a temple in a certain Vedic dress, because it is for the pleasure of the Lord. That's the reason why we come like that. Nirmama, these clothes are not ours. And the last thing is jwara. Jwara in Sanskrit means fire, energy, okay? Like for example, you read about the fight between Shiva and Lord Krishna. There was a jwara weapon that's mentioned in the Krishna book. But vigata means, lethargy, someone who's sluggish, like that. Or mental fever. When you become sluggish, when you start waking up every day, 7, 8 o'clock, then you come to a temple, they say, no, you should wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, But we wake up for, let's say, Janmashtami, but then all the other 364 days, we wake up at 8, 9 o'clock. That's called vigata jwara. Okay, because we think we get comfortable. It is said that, like in winter, Acharya said that a warm bed is a cold grave. Okay? Why? Because when you're inside your bed 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning and you wake up, two things happen. One is that the Lord has already done their pastimes. So you missed that time of Mangalarati. And during this time of Brahma Muhurta, early in the morning, 1.5 hours before sunrise, the Devatas are ready to give you their blessings. They give you blessings. So if you're in bed sleeping, then how will you get the blessings? So you should wake up early in the morning. If you don't, that's called Vigata Jwara. So Krishna shows that from the 3 modes of material nature, the 3 modes are the mode of ignorance, tamagun, is called Yudhitsava Vigata Jwara. That is, we should not become lazy. Being lazy is in the mode of tamagun, or ignorance. Then one step above that is called Rajas, or the mode of passion. That's I'm working hard. Envy, that's called Nirasi Nirmamo Bhutva. That is one that should be free from being possessive or being envious. Selfishness is the mode of passion, okay? Then higher than that is Sannyasa Adatma Cetasa. That is, yes, there's a higher power, but we do not know that's Krishna, so that's in the mode of goodness. But higher than these 3 things is that Mai Sarvani Karmani. That's everything has to come to me. Not to Lord Shiva, not to Lord Brahma, not to Ganesh, not to Indra, but to Krishna. Not to Shakti Mata, it has to come to Krishna. Mai Sarvani Karmani. Krishna says that, and he makes it very emphatically. So that is Nirguna, above the 3 modes of material nature. So that's why this verse is a complete verse for the Bhagavad Gita. It goes above each mode and takes you to the highest mode called Nirguna, which makes you eligible for Bhakti Yoga. Is that okay? And if you do that, then you'll be easily able to get rid of this Vigata Jwara. Get up early in the morning, and you can chant your rounds nicely, read the Bhagavatam, attend Mangalarati, and then you have the rest of the day to do what you want to do, like that. Okay? So we're almost we're actually over time, pardon me, so we'll just finish up with 31, 32 and then wrap up. These are short verses. So just read the translation and a bit of the purport, like that. So we'll go back to the slide. So who'd like to read 30, 32? Someone who hasn't read last week. Who didn't read last week? Okay, Mother Shakti, why don't you read 32, please? Oh, 31, pardon me.
Those persons who execute their duties according to my injunctions and who follow this teaching faithfully without envy become free from the bondage of fruitive actions. Purport.
Mashur Prabhupada.
Of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, the essence of all Vedic wisdom, and therefore is eternally true without exception. As the Vedas are eternal, so this truth of Krishna consciousness is also eternal. One should have firm faith in this injunction without envying the Lord. There are many philosophers who write comments on the Bhagavad Gita, but who have no faith in Krishna. They will never
Thank you. So the essence of this verse is that one must be obedient. And how can one become obedient is when we invest our faith in the Lord. Faith basically means that no matter what, I will always be there to serve the Lord and his devotees. When we say the Lord, we also mean his devotees. So the devotees say, come and do your service for Rath Yatra, like that. You must come and do your service, because you get an opportunity to serve the Lord. It is something that's not ordinary thing, it's something that's super special. So that is faith. That is no matter what, whatever come may, I will be there to serve the Lord. That is called faith, And everything that we do for the Lord automatically is subserves other things. That is when we serve the Lord, when we offer prasadam, have prasadam, then automatically we get all complete benefit from that, like that. When you offer, for example, when you offer food to Krishna, all the devtas, the 33 crore devtas, 330 million devtas, they all get fed automatically because Krishna is the source. It's like when you feed your body, you don't feed your ears, eyes, toes, hair, your GI tract separately. You do it through the mouth, through the esophagus, intestinal tract, stomach, like that. That's how you do it. Then all your liver, kidneys, brain, nervous system, they all get nourished like that, because you're feeding, rewarding the root of the plant, which is Lord Krishna, like that. So faith is very important in Krishna consciousness. And by doing so, even though you may not have firm faith, but you have a desire to serve the Lord sees that. The second thing is called sincerity. So if you have sincerity, the Lord knows what is behind your pretensions. Pretension means what other people see, but the Lord only can see what is inside your mind, your intentions. The intentions behind your pretensions. If your intentions are good, your pretensions will be also something that will attract Lord Krishna. Okay? Then, to close off, 32 talks about people that are disobedient. What happens to that? And we'll finish. Okay? So, back to the Prabhus. Devendra Prabhu? Is there... Yeah, sure. If you'd like to read 32, please. So, sorry, just interrupt. So, anyone that's envious means, envy means to not follow the order of the Lord, or to one who's selfish, thinking that I'm the doer, not the Lord. That's meaning envy, yes. And purport, Prabhu?
The flaw of not being Krishna conscious is clearly stated herein, as there is punishment for disobedience to the order of the supreme executive head, so there is certainly punishment for disobedience to the order of the supreme personality of Godhead. A disobedient person, however great he may be, is ignorant of his own self and of the supreme Brahman, Paramatma, and his personality of Godhead due to a vacant heart. Therefore, there is no hope of perfection of life for him.
Thank you. So again, the language may be a little heavy, but the reason why the language might be a little heavy is because we care about people. We don't want people to come back and suffer all these things, like that, birth, death, disease, and old age, like that. So sometimes the language may feel a little heavy, but the reason for that is that we want everyone to benefit from this philosophy, not just ourselves, but people around us, that we see people that are suffering, right? So we see that Kamsa, for example, Kams was on the top of the world. He was the king of the world. It's mentioned that he was only king of this, but he was really the most powerful king of this time, right? And therefore Lord Krishna had to kill him. But what happened was that he basically vilified, he offended, his sister and his brother-in-law. He imprisoned them, threatened them, killed their babies, and then went to Golok Vrindavan, killed all the other babies. So he committed some very grave sinful things. And what happened to him? He was killed at the end. All his glory, he went from 100% all the way down to 0, He became like a battery, all of a sudden you can't revive your battery, you have to replace the battery. He had to be replaced like that, okay? Because if you go against the will of the Lord, that's what happens to, even great people. So therefore, it is said very famously that if you lose your wealth, you lose nothing, okay? If you lose your health, you will lose something. But if you lose your stealth means composture, a sense of consciousness, then you lose everything, Okay? So this Bhagavad Gita teaches everything. It teaches us that if you lose our Krishna consciousness or a sense of just being conscious, nice to other people, and you offend other people, then we will lose everything, our health, our wealth, our perfection, even the blessings of our parents, great sages, that all becomes completely vanquished like that. Right, so in closing, what we covered is verses 29 to 32. You're lucky because we're out of time, so no quiz, okay? We'll get you next time though, okay? We'll get you next time because the next week will be exam. So 29 talks about differences in attitude between someone who's a false good person and a true good person. 30 talks about doing your duty with full focus on Krishna. That's called Bhakti Yoga. This verse is the essence of the entire Gita. Please go home and read this verse again and try to absorb it and follow it. And 31 talks about obedience to Krishna, and 32 talks about if you're disobedient, what happens. So with that, thank you very much. Again, we wish you a very happy new year. You know, I know people came because it's the first day of the new year, and therefore you have a bigger than usual crowd. I presume that's the case because it certainly wasn't for the lecture that you came. But please carry this message with you. Read the Bhagavad Gita every day. You know, and with that, your life will become successful, and you'll please Krishna and his devotees. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. All go Shubhavad. So what we'll do is we'll all stand up now, and we will have kirtan for the next 15 minutes. I think Mother Goda is leading the kirtan, and we'll end and then have prasadam. So just humble request, by about 7:05, we'll wrap up, and we'll ask people to help us clean up, and then we'll close the temple. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Little up. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Nitai Gauri Premanandi
महाप्रसादे गोविंदे नाम ब्रह्मणि वैष्णवे स्वल्पपुण्यवतं राजन् विश्वासो नैव जायते शरीरा विद्याजा जड़ेन्द्रियता है काल जीवे पहले विषय सागरे तार मते जीवाती लोभो मये सुधर्मति टाकी चिताकटिं संसारे कृष्ण बड़ो दयामय करी बारे जिब्वा जाय स्वप्रसादन दिलो भाई शयना अमृत पाओ श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गुण गाओ प्रेमेरा को श्री चैतन्य निताय जय निमाय जय निताय जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। महाप्रसादम की जय।